Before we try and use the calculator for any trigonometry problems, we need to make sure we can efficiently find the new buttons that we'll be using in this topic, but we also must ensure the calculator is set into the right mode. If you don't check this before getting started, then you will find you'll have every single answer incorrect. So first of all, the buttons that that will be new to you in this topic are these sine, cos and tan buttons. They're the third line down on your function buttons on your calculator. Okay, so sine, cos and tan. So if at some point you're wanting to evaluate sine of 30 degrees, you'll be looking for the button that says, I know it says sin, but it's short for sine. So you will type sine, then a little open bracket, then you type in your 30. You don't need a degree symbol because the calculator's default, once we've set it up properly, will be in degrees. And then you'll hit your equals button. So it's as straightforward as that. But sometimes you'll be asking questions where you'll be asked to evaluate, say, the inverse sine, which will look like this, of 0.5, for example. So if you want to do that on your calculator, you're going to have to find the shift button. Hit that first because we want to use the function that is up above the sine button. So we'll do shift and then your sine button. Then type in your 0.5 and then your equals button. Okay, so they're the new buttons that you'll be using, the sine, the cosine and the tangent button. The next thing we need to do is to make sure a calculator is in the correct angle mode. So most of the time in our junior maths years, we'll be answering questions involving the degrees unit. So first of all, you must check that you have a little D symbol or a DEG, depending on the version of your calculator, at the top of your screen. If you have an R or a G, you're going to get all your answers wrong. So the D stands for degrees, the R stands for radians, and the G stands for gradients. So the R and the G are used when we're measuring angles using a different base unit other than the degree. So in order to change that setting, if your calculator is not currently in degrees mode, what I want you to do is to hit the shift and then the setup button, and your screen will look like this. So the settings there that affect your trigonometry work are numbers 3, 4 and 5 on my screen, degrees, radians and gradients. And the one we want to always have it set on is 3 for degrees. Okay, so until you get to years 11 and 12, you won't be using radians, and while you're at school, you won't be using the gradients at all. So we definitely want the calculator to be in degrees mode. So if you were to hit 3, you should then, when you go back to your screen of your calculator, you should see a D at the top.